Okay, we're back on?
Yeah.
All right. I was sharing this story about how I came across a picture in the family Bible. And this was a picture of a Klan rally that my grandfather had attended. And in my grandmother's handwriting had the word Israel, and that was his name, where this arrow had pointed out and depicted that that was my grandfather.
It's ironic that it was his name, such a holy place, but yet he wasn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Touching, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so my grandfather was a part of the Klan rally. I remember then on my grandmother's passing, which was a number of years later, as my father was clearing out the house because they were selling this particular piece of real estate, upstairs in the attic were literally suitcases of pictures of various Klan rallies. And I remember my parents were just shredding these photos just as quickly as they possibly could shred them, because I think they were embarrassed and didn't want my brother and I to see these photos. But unfortunately, it is part of my family's history. Growing up as a child, I heard a lot of racial comments. I heard a lot of ugly, ugly comments that I had to decide as a young adult whether I wanted to be the next generation to continue on with this poison, or whether I wanted to distance myself and come up with my own philosophy.
Now, seeing with all the media and things like that, obviously that's a big part of today's comedy, today's news. It's just it absolutely, seeps into every part of entertainment and comedy, and a lot of the media outlets. How does that affect how children, how people in society view race in general? And that's a very broad question, but.
Well, it certainly permeates our culture all over the place. I think in many instances our comedy that's out there, I think, send a dual message to our young people. I think this is a part of the anger and the anxiety and all the lack of balance that we all strive for amongst the culture. I think all that leaves a double message to a lot of our young people. I think of Chris Rock and some of the things where it's sending the message that if they themselves are African American, it's okay to use these words, but don't let others use it. I'm not sure that's a fair comment. I think that's a very conflicting comment to our young people, and leave a lot of imbalance with them, a lot of confusion as to the appropriateness of all this. Because of the household that I was raised in, because of the time that I was raised in, I had to do a lot of soul searching to figure out where I stood. I obviously genetically, environmentally was a product of this heritage that I came from. There was a tremendous amount of bias in my own parents. I heard growing up all the N-word on a daily basis, all the Semitic comments. And it just disgusts me to my stomach. I hate that. I hate and I'm embarrassed that that's a product of who I came from, but I am who I am. I can't change them. I can only change me.
And that's a good segue to my last question. What kind of message do you have for the people watching this video, for future generations, for society in general, on how to deal with stopping this discrimination, stop the bias, stop just the negative viewpoints towards everyone?
I think it takes one person at a time. One person at a time. If we could stop this categorizing of large segments of people, if we could learn to take one interaction as they come, one friendship as they come, one professional, colloquial interaction as they come, one by one, and decide whether you're going to befriend that person or not befriend them merely because of the characteristics of them as an individual, and stop this global categorization of just races and first impressions. I have tried so hard amongst my life to learn to get to know the person as an individual, and not just immediately decide whether I do or do not like them merely because of their color of their skin. You know what? Because inside we're all exactly alike. It's truly the passion that we feel in their heart is what makes somebody an individual or not.
Well put.
And that's the piece that I've always so tried to enter into my adult life. I just, in high school we had spring race riots. I got tired of living like that. I got tired of categorizing a huge segment of people just because they were blacks as these evil, horrible people. I got tired of listening to that poison. And thank goodness through my own education and the people that I associated with in my later life was I able to move away from this root and this foundation that was a part of my familiar basis and expand that thought process into new regions.
Well put.
But the challenges
Well
are
put.
still out there. I mean,
Right.
I know what I've seen. I've seen the changes from the inappropriateness of having a black person and a white person walk along to share a restaurant, to sit down at a table together. I've seen that firsthand, and the ugliness and the hostility with that social inappropriateness, that we can do that now with a much more casual basis, but we still have a long, long way to go.
I agree.
A long way to go.
I agree. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I think you conveyed some good messages in this